Well, hello my friends, your old pal Jordan the Lion. As you can see behind me, we are back in Indiana today. And today we are gonna go check out two of the baseball field filming locations from one of my all-time favorite movies, 1992's A League of Their Own. Directed by Penny Marshall, starring Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, Lori Petty. Phenomenal movie. I can't wait to see these locations. We're actually gonna go to the stadium where the Rockford Peaches played, and we're going to the stadium of the RACINE Bells. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Yeah, we'll have to come back some other time and check out Lincoln's boyhood home. Not today though. Do you feel like you're on that Rockford Peach bus that they used to take with Stillwell running up and down? Well, my friends, we have made it to our first stop, Huntingtonburg. And I know I'm in the right spot because in the background of all the shots in the baseball park, you can see that guy. And also, they have a big green sign over here as I was making the left turn that says Huntingtonburg League Stadium, movie site of A League of Their Own, 1992, and Soul of the Game, 1995. So let's go check it out. I don't know if we'll be able to get in. I kind of doubt it, but it's worth a shot, isn't it? Now right up here on this banner, you can see they're commemorating the 1894 Huntingtonburg League Stadium, and it also says as seen in A League of Their Own and home of the Dubois County Bombers. Yep, a team actually still plays here. And here we are. I mean, it's straight out of the movie. I completely remember seeing this all over the place, and I believe this stadium, I believe that it wasn't really being used at the time. So all the ads that they painted on that back fence, I believe those were done just for the movie and they kept them there. So let's go check it out. Oh man, that's pretty cool to see. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to get in. I had tried to call for the last 2 days and I couldn't get an answer. I was gonna see if we could get in, but I think we'll still be able, the way these old stadiums are built, I think we'll still be able to see a little bit. Now, of course, you see up on top, welcome to League Stadium, as seen in the movie A League of Their Own. And it's also right here. What happened in this part? Now basically the movie, most of the movie takes place in this stadium. Aside from the fact, or aside from the instances where the Rockford Peaches are playing the RACINE Bells, that's how they basically cheated this movie. They made it look like multiple stadiums because they did use 2 stadiums primarily for the baseball scenes and everything, and every time you saw the Rockford Peaches playing any other team other than RACINE, it would have been here. Now let's go walk around the stadium. Now this was a great movie. Like I said, I was a big fan of this when it came out. Great cast, and that's saying something because a handful of the people that were cast in this movie I don't particularly care for, but I loved them in the movie. Now what the movie was, it was a historical retelling of the World War II era when a lot of the players in Major League Baseball were signing up to go serve and go fight for the US in World War II. So what ended up happening was there was a threat or a possibility at some point that they thought that baseball would get shut down. And so what they were doing was they were trying to prepare or pre-prepare in case that happened by having a women's league. It was the All-American Girls Baseball League. The reason I was stammering was because I looked over and saw this. They have one of those things that you can get in there and put your face through, and it was actually the Rockford Peaches, so I wasn't expecting that. So it looks like they've embraced the stadium's history. So this movie was a huge hit. They filmed it in 1991, and primarily in Illinois and Indiana. Look at that, the Rockford Peaches right there. So rad. hopefully we'll be able to see something from the side. We'll be able to find some way of getting a little bit of footage, but this movie was a hit. Everybody loved it, and in fact what I was going to mention is painted right here on the side. One of the great scenes that I love about this movie was that exact scene. It's when Tom Hanks is playing Jimmy Dugan, based off of the great baseball player Jimmy Fox, and he's hired to coach these girls, and he's basically hired because he had a great career, but he was a drunk and he ruined it all at the end. And so he's been given a job. Basically they just say, go out, wave your hat around, embrace your being a celebrity, and that's all you have to do. So he's not coaching these girls even though he's hired to be the manager. And when he finally gets into deciding that he's gonna start managing, he looks out, and this is where the scene where he calls Evelyn in with that crazy finger when he's doing that move. And she comes over and he says, hey Evelyn, let me ask you a question. What team do you play for? She says, I'm a Peach. And he goes, okay, because I was just wondering why we, with a 2-run lead, you'd throw to second and put the tying run on second base. We lost the lead because of you. Now start using your head. That's that lump 3 feet above your beep. And then he turns around and walks into the dugout, and she starts crying. And then that's when that famous line comes out where he turns his head around and says, are you crying? Are you crying? And she says, no. He says, there's no crying. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. Now, what else also happens here that I love is, well, we'll be able to at least see a little bit of the field, is that moment where they kind of find out that the league isn't doing so well, so they're trying to drum up some support, and they're trying to get a an article written in Life magazine featuring Dottie, played by Gina Davis, who I had such a huge crush on from this movie. And so what she ends up doing is, this is when Dottie ends up doing the goes to catch the ball and does the splits to catch the ball. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. What I'm trying to do is, I know on the very, very back, not on this side, I believe it's on the what is that, left field wall? I think they have a Rockford Peaches billboard up. Let's walk around the stadium, see if we can see any more. Oh boy, this might be a way to at least get a shot inside the stadium. Going up the scoreboard steps, I think I can get us a shot from the outfield. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There are those classic dugouts where Jimmy Dugan would have been telling the umpire, she's crying, sir. Well, Jimmy, you got to treat these women like they're your mother. That's when he says, did anybody ever tell you you look like a blank in that little hat? That's pretty cool. That's the home plate that Dottie would have done the splits near. And then right over there is where, in that one scene, the ball goes over there, and the African-American family is over there watching off to the side, and the African-American lady picks up the ball and throws it so hard that it makes the Rockford Peaches girl, makes her hand hurt. Kind of a nod to civil rights in baseball. I have easily, I'm sure, seen this movie 50 times in my life, and it never gets old. Everything about it is great. In fact, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of like Rosie O'Donnell or Madonna growing up, but even the song that Madonna released, that This Used to Be My Playground, even that was a huge hit from this movie, and that was a great song. Now I'm a tad bit disappointed because unless I just didn't see it or they moved it, I was told that by a friend that had come and visited this once before, they said they actually have the original Rockford Peach's bus out front. The one that you would see throughout the movie. The one that Stillwell's running up and down, and the one where Tom Hanks wakes up after the bus driver quits and kisses the chaperone lady and then starts gagging and starts drinking the liquor and spitting it out on the floor. Yeah, unfortunately we're not going to be able to get inside. It's all locked up. I walked all the way around, and I don't believe the bus is here either because I don't see it, but still pretty cool. And this is not the last of our stops, because if you remember in the movie, Dottie, played by Geena Davis, gets her kid sister Kit the audition they basically filmed that at Wrigley Field, gets her the audition. They both end up on the same team, but then they start fighting, and Dottie says, I want to be traded. Instead of trading her, they trade Kit to the RACINE Bells, and we're going to go to the stadium where all of the RACINE games happened, including that very last World Series game. Now, even though this stadium that we're at now is older, it's been changed significantly over time, and so it's not considered one of the oldest stadiums because so much has been done to it. But here they actually have a little plaque commemorating the Rockford Peaches, and it says on here, Huntington League Stadium was originally the site of the Dubois County Fairgrounds grandstands, built in 1894. In 1991, it was expanded and renovated by Columbia Pictures for the filming of the movie A League of Their Own, starring Tom Hanks, Geena Davis, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell. And this comedy drama, listed on the Library of Congress and the National Film Registry League Stadium, was home field of the Rockford Peaches, and the look of the field today as it was portrayed in the film. It says, after the filming, A League of Their Own, the stadium was donated to the city of Huntingtonburg and is a destination for movie and baseball fans. Original advertisements from the movie remain along the outfield fence, including the manually operated scoreboard that is still used today. And it was used in HBO's Soul of the Game. Pretty cool. Now we're gonna head to Evansville, and we're gonna go to Bosse Field. Giant Santa Claus! I'd say we've arrived, and it just happens to be on Don Mattingly Way. Yep, Don Mattingly is not only from here, Evansville, Indiana. If I'm not mistaken, he still lives here. And as you can tell by this sign, it's also the home of Football Hall of Famer Bob Griese. Well, here's our ticket box. And one of our great scenes in the movie actually happens right outside these gates. At the end of the movie, after the Rockford Peaches lose, Dottie's husband has returned, and this is where Dottie's husband meets Jimmy Dugan. That's when he says, you've got a heck of a ball player here, and that's the last time that we see in the movie that Dottie and Jimmy Dugan ever see each other again. Now, another filming location matchup is right here. After the game, this is where the two buses are parked. The Rockford Peach bus right here, and the RACINE Bells bus would have been parked right up here. And this is where we see Jimmy Dugan get on the bus, and he tells Miss Cuthbert to save him a seat, you cutie. And that's where we see Dottie, played by Geena Davis, yells to her sister, played by Lori Petty, Kit, lay off the high ones. And that's where Kit yells back from over here, I like the high ones. And they both get on the buses, and that's our last shot here. Now, I do see a front gate open, so somebody's here, and there's a car parked out front. I just haven't been able to get in touch with anybody. This was a really interesting movie because another thing about it was they didn't use stunt doubles or anything, so all the bruises, all the scrapes, everything that you saw in the movie, those were real. Those actually happened to the ladies, the actresses. This is where they had the World Series game in the movie. And they still, I believe, above the grandstands, they still have the Racine Bells, home of the Racine Bells sign from the movie. Now, one way you can really tell that this is the same ballpark from the movie is, you see that building behind the ballpark back there? It says Crawford Garage Doors. That's in the movie. That was, I think it was white in the movie, but it was still called Crawford, and it's still back there. You can see actually when Madonna's running to catch some fly balls, you can see it behind her. Well guys, I've been out here for about 45 minutes trying to get in, see if I could just get whoever opened this gate, get their attention. I cannot, so I'm about to give up. But this was all the other scenes were done here. All the green seats, bleacher type stuff, those were all done here. Like I said, I wanted to show you because you can see, you can match up all the buildings in the background of the outfield, as well as they still have the Racine Bells sign. It would have been nice to show you because this is not, it's not Racine, Indiana. In reality, it was in Racine, Wisconsin. But for filming purposes, the reason they used this field house, or why they used this stadium, was because it's the third oldest in the US. So behind Fenway Park and behind Wrigley Field, which Wrigley Field they did use for this, that's where they held the tryouts for all the girls at the beginning of the movie. Then they used this to recreate that time period. This was built in the early 1900s, and when they filmed the movie here, it had actually not been used since like 1984, and then they rented it out to film the movie here in 1991. I believe all the actors, they didn't even stay like in a hotel, they actually rented them people's homes from this town, and they stayed in those homes and went up to all the businesses and ate at the diners and all that stuff. And just, you know, the city had a blast from what I read. And so they filmed all those scenes here to recreate that time period. Gosh, I really wish I could have got in here because there were some great scenes here. This is the one where Gina Davis is giving the sign to bunt, to do a squeeze bunt, and that's like the first moment you see Tom Hanks starting to care about the team. And he goes, "What are you, stupid? You're gonna have our best hitter swing or squeeze bunt?" She goes, "Ah, the outfield's deep, it'll work." And they both start giving signs, like player signs, and you see the batter like jumping in and out of the batter's box and everything. And finally he goes, "Who's the manager here?" "I am." And she goes, "Act like it, you big lush." Well, darn it, guys, I'm sorry. I tried and tried. I've been here for a very long time. I've been calling them for days, and nobody's answered here. It's unfortunate I couldn't get more footage than just off to those little sides, but trust me, it was filmed here. Well, have a great night, everyone. We will see you all tomorrow. Well, I can't believe it. They let me in. Take a look, man. These are the stands. These are the stands that we see in the movie. How about that? That's so cool. Now let's look over here, because right over there you can see the Racine Bells support sign. There it is. How cool is that? Now it's about to get a lot cooler. It's about to get a lot cooler because they, when I told them what I was doing, they were totally cool with it. So I'm gonna show you the dugout. In the World Series, this was the Rockford Peach dugout right here. And then that one over there is the one that the Racine Bells are in. And when Kit is having a rough game, that's when she comes into this dugout over here and is sitting on the edge of the bench crying, like hitting herself in the head with a baseball glove. And the catcher is saying, "Don't worry, Kit, we have one more inning, we'll get him." And that's, I think she's sitting basically right here, and the catcher is sitting up on there. So like I said, the big ending to the game was right here.
Swing and a miss, strike one.
This is where the Rockford Peaches have it. They pretty much have won the game. one more out because Daze, right before this, had run over and jumped into the dugout and caught that foul ball. So it's like, it's in the bag. They have this game won. And then Kit comes up. Daze goes out to the mound and says, give her a high fastball. She can't hit him and she can't lay off him. So that would have been out here at this diamond, or this pitcher's mound right out here. They would have walked back. Kit would have been batting over here. They throw her that fastball. You can actually see where Daze would have been standing. And Kit, believe it or not, crushes it. Hits it over Evelyn's head. You can see, like I mentioned, you can see that building in the background. But then Kit decides she's not gonna wait at third, and she comes barreling home for the win. And it all happens right here. She barrels over Daze, played by Geena Davis. Geena Davis falls backwards right here on her back, and we see her hand where the ball opens up and the ball just rolls right out of her hand, and RACINE wins the championship. And then of course we see this shot right here where the whole team and the manager and everything for the RACINE Bells jump up and come running and celebrating. That is absolutely totally cool of them to have let us in here today. They even said, you got really lucky. We're almost never here. This was just a fluke that I happened to be here, so it all worked out in the end. And then you can see over on the other side, they also have a Support the RACINE Bells still posted up there from the movie as well. Take a look. These are the original seats, I believe, from when they built it, but they're also the original seats from the movie. Look how old they are. And this is just pure class. Look at this. They have a chair of honor for the prisoners of war. Well, gang, we did it. We got to see both stadiums. How cool was that? Hope you guys enjoyed this. Well, my friends, we're gonna call it a day. I literally had just given up. I totally was ready to go and actually was recording my ending when out of the corner of my eye, I saw somebody walking around in there, and they were nice enough to let us in. So sometimes things just are meant to happen, and they happen. So can't thank them enough here at Bosse Field. Hope you guys enjoyed this filming location vlog, and if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It's amazing. Penny Marshall directed it. She never does anything bad. Tom Hanks, the whole cast, phenomenal. The movie's funny. And as far as baseball movies, probably my second favorite ever, right behind Major League. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.